Hey everybody, Matt Johnston here with another small business update. In the COVID world, there are going to be bankruptcies. As much as I wish that were not the case, I am enough of a realist to understand that some small businesses simply aren't going to survive. And if you want to have a philosophical or political debate about that, give me a call because I have a lot of very strong opinions about that. But the reality of the situation is there are going to be some businesses that need to file for bankruptcy. So with the caveat that this is general information about bankruptcy, if you want specific information, let us know. We can hook you up with a bankruptcy attorney. But for the most part, you should consult a bankruptcy attorney for specific guidance on how it applies to you. So essentially what bankruptcy is a great big pause button. When you file for bankruptcy, everything in your business, all collections actions by your creditors, everything stops as of the day that you file with bankruptcy. And the bankruptcy court, either through a trustee or through what's called a debtor in possession, will amass all of the assets, they'll look at all of the debts, and they'll figure out what's going to happen from there. So before you file for bankruptcy, you need to know who you owe money to and how much and what payment terms. You're going to need to know what your current assets are. That includes everything from inventory to accounts receivable, the whole shooting match. And you also are going to have to know whether or not you are a personal guarantor on any of those contracts. So what does that mean? Once you have amassed all of that information, that becomes what is known as the bankruptcy estate. And it's a fancy word, but that's basically all of the assets. A business can continue to operate under a Chapter 11 situation. So there are Chapter 11s, there's Chapter 7, Chapter 13, all of those bankruptcy things. But Chapter 11 allows for the business to continue to operate. And you simply sort of start everything anew from the first day after the filing of the bankruptcy. Now you are going to have to take care of some accounting things. Remember, your accounts receivable are part of the bankruptcy estate, but any new account receivable that you create on the day after filing, that becomes part of the after effect. So one of the questions that you should be prepared to answer is who do you owe money to and who owes you money, so you can figure that out. All right. A bankruptcy court has very, very broad powers. It's what lawyers refer to as a court of equity. And a court of equity, the judge is looking for what is fair to the maximum number of people possible. Okay? So that includes you as the debtor. So what is fair to you is going to be considered. Do your creditors have some rights? Yes, but so do you as the debtor. And so you should be working with a bankruptcy attorney to figure out what that's going to be. Once that pause button is in place, then everything is reassessed and then a plan is usually developed to pay the creditors. Whether that is liquidating the assets, whether that is coming up with a repayment plan. In some cases, contracts can be modified by a bankruptcy court. They don't like to do it too much, but it can be. Now, before you start to file bankruptcy, you need to understand a couple of things. If your business is an LLC or a corporation or something like that, and that entity files bankruptcy, it does not mean that the owners have filed bankruptcy. But if the owners have signed personal guarantees on any of the debts, leases often require a personal guarantee. Loans from a bank or other lender often require a personal guarantee if the business hasn't developed its own credit. So having those situations, you are going to be in a situation where you personally may be put at risk. If there is a bankruptcy, if your business goes bankrupt, the lender or the landlord or whoever you owe money to, if they have a personal guarantee, they can activate that personal guarantee. And you may end up still owing the money personally rather than through the business. So review every single contract that you have for any debt that you owe to understand whether or not you have a personal guarantee. Once the bankruptcy estate is established, there'll be some negotiation. Sometimes there's a trustee that's appointed. Sometimes the business owner can be what's called a debtor in possession. And those kinds of activities will figure out what's going to happen. As a rule, I always look at bankruptcy as a last-ditch resort, largely because I think, well, I tend to be a little bit more optimistic, but I do tend to be a realist as well. So sometimes it is the last resort. If it becomes the last resort, be mindful that there's going to be a lot of businesses just like yours that are going to be filing for bankruptcy protection. And that means the court is going to get overburdened with some of these bankruptcy actions. So make sure you consult with an attorney before you file bankruptcy. Be mindful that things are going to happen within the bankruptcy court. There is a process, there is a procedure. The rules exist to protect everybody. If you want to avoid bankruptcy, have conversations with your lenders and the people that you owe money to. Oftentimes they are willing to modify their agreements to ensure that they get paid everything. If they go into a bankruptcy, there's a fairly high likelihood that they will get not all of what they're owed, if they get anything back. So if you're wanting to continue an operation as a business, think about bankruptcy as kind of a last-ditch resort. But again, consult with a bankruptcy attorney. If you need to talk to a bankruptcy attorney, please let us know. We'll be happy to make a referral to you. Finally, I do want to point out that a lot of times what we do as a law firm is help businesses explore different ideas and different solutions. And one of the things that we do offer folks is a Ask Matt the Lawyer plan. It's a subscription plan. People can, for a small monthly fee, $99 a month, they can ask as many email questions as they may have, and they can also schedule some phone calls with us so that we can have a conversation about how best to serve your needs. And sometimes having a set of outside eyes may provide an option that you hadn't thought of. In the meantime, please be safe out there, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.